welcome to Late Night America. Later in the program, a visit with scientist-philosopher Albert Einstein through the talents of actor Ed Metzger. Welcome back, gang. The incredible physicist, Nobel Prize winner Albert Einstein was treated to a ticker-tape parade, so the story goes, when he came to New York City in 1933. He reportedly joked to the mayor, "I never knew so many people understood the theory of relativity." Albert Einstein was, of course, a genius. Also, very, very human. Watch.
It is good. After leaving Germany, the very first thing I did when I arrived at Princeton was find my way to the malt shop and get an ice cream cone. Oh, vanilla is my favorite. On the way out of the mall shop, I was recognized. "Oh, there's Dr. Einstein, Dr. Einstein, Dr. Einstein." And from that moment on, there was a big confusion. Like Midas, everything I touch changes, but not into gold, but into a circus. I am so easily intimidated whenever strangers gather around me in the street. Usually it is a father that would like me to take pictures with his wife and his children. After the pictures are taken, then I walk away when I say to myself, the old elephant has been put through his tricks once again. Newspaper reporters and photographers, they are always following me around, and they are asking me to find the fourth dimension, state the theory of relativity, comment on politics, what about prohibition, pacifism, sum up your religion. Who picks out your clothing, Dr. Einstein? And they want the answers all in one sentence. You know what I do? I discuss the virtues of my violin playing. I tell you personally, as for my clothes, I have often been described as a poor dresser, but I think that I am just casual. I am what is known as a practical bohemian. Practical because I say that we are slaves to many things. Radios, frigidaires, automobiles, and many, many other things. And a bohemian because I reduce things to the absolute minimum. Long hair minimizes the need for a barber. And when you go to sleep at night, nightshirts and pajamas are needless if you have bed covers. And when you wear shoes, socks can be done without. They only produce holes. You see, I adhere strictly to the precepts. The matters of elegance should be left to the tailor.
Now, a tremendous opportunity, friends. If you've ever had a question for Albert Einstein, you might know a little bit about him, one way or the other. Give us a call, 313 in Detroit, 872-4040. Did a little reading this afternoon myself. Talk about Albert Einstein as the man who changed the concept of the universe. Somebody else once said he fulfills one's expectations of genius. Do you know that over 4,000 books and pamphlets were written about the theory of relativity, people challenging it on all sides. Obviously, a violinist, pianist, a sailor. I thought this was kind of interesting. 1936 patented an electronic eye camera. Smoked a pipe, wore no socks, drank no alcohol, couldn't remember what he ate, and he said, any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. Did you say that?
If you have it there, I guess I did. Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Go back a long time. Tell us a little bit about father, mother, born, and where raised.
Well, I was born in Ulm, Germany, 1879. My father was a electrical engineer, maybe not a graduate in engineering, but in the electrical business. My mother was a concert pianist. She did not play many famous concerts, but from that love of science and music in my home, I think that it was the greatest force for my development, or my love of music, or my love of science.
Now, when you were a youngster, did they really say a backward child?
Well, I did not speak for the first 3 years of my life, so my mother thought I was going to be retarded. When as time went on, it looked as though she was right. Because I did not speak a word for the first 3 years.
But now, she thought, even as a youngster, that you would grow up to be a great professor, didn't she?
I don't think so, not for my mother. She
No?
would like me to be a violinist.
Is that what she wanted?
Yes, and I wanted to be a violinist. But after a few lessons, it was not that clear to anybody in the family that I would make a great violinist. You see, my first love was always to be in the Berliner Philharmonic, playing Mozart, Beethoven, Bach.
But you played all your life, and some people said, fair violinist, okay, but it was always for fun, huh?
It was
self-pleasure, huh?
Self-pleasure, yes.
Okay, now you spent some time in Italy as well?
Yes, I went to school there. I could not stand the educational system at that time in Germany. It was very strict, and it did not allow the free thinking that I needed as a young man.
Okay, now at what point did you fall in love with science?
I thought you were going to ask me if I fell in love with women first.
No, that comes a little later, huh?
Well, I would say my father gave me a compass at the age of 6. I was so mystified as to why the needle always points to the north, that I knew that I had to find the answer out. And from one answer led me to another, and so forth.
Now, early years, like 12, 13, 14, taught yourself calculus, taught yourself geometry?
Oh, I found that very easy. I was not always very good at that. I was better at pondering the universe, even at a young age.
So you really do think a person has to spend some time to think, huh?
I think a lot of time to think, and that's where I think some of the schools today are at fault.
Switzerland, studied in Switzerland?
Yes, that's
got
right.
on staff, you started teaching there?
Well, it was a hard time before I started to teach. I first had to work in the patent office. That's after I graduated when I was 25 in Bern, Switzerland. And then after the theory of relativity was finally published, then I was recognized at least to give some sort of a part-time job at the university, not a full-time professorship. That took many years later.
Can you nail the theory of relativity down for us folks who can't understand complicated things?
Well, I would say like this. If you could picture yourself sitting with a pretty girl for 1 hour, it would seem like a minute. But if you only sit for 1 minute on a hot stove, then that would seem like an hour. That is the simplest explanation I can come up with for the theory of relativity.
It had to do with time?
It has to do with time, space, and motion.
Those are the things that interested you. Time, space, motion. Heat was also another thing?
Well, heat was part of the thermodynamic thing. I would say basically the idea is that we are sitting here, we are not on the same spot as when we first started to talk. Many thousands of miles have passed.
How so?
Well, the Earth is rotating on its axis, as it is also revolving around the Sun. As the Earth and Sun are moving through space as the whole solar system. So therefore, we are always in constant motion, continuously.
Light interested you as well, huh?
Ah, yes, light is constant. Nothing can approach the speed of light and certainly never go faster than the speed of light.
At what point, once the theory of relativity was published, and there were 4 or 5 major papers, weren't they, on different subjects that were published?
That is correct.
Okay. At one point, you were absolutely adored in Germany, right? I mean, just...
Well, I was a great German citizen as long as I would be the great so-called genius as they said I was. However, the minute I became outspoken as to the German government and its militaristic policies, then I was no longer the favorite son.
Okay. What caused you to come to the United States and become, I think one of the articles suggested, America's #1 refugee?
I would like to say that his name was Adolf Hitler.
That brought you here.
Yes.
Princeton, many teaching, many writing, Nobel Prize for physics, huh?
By the way, the photoelectric effect, not for the theory of relativity. I did not win the Nobel Prize for that.
And the atomic bomb. Where do you fit into that whole business?
It is a very sad commentary, of course, on science, on my work. I would like to say so that I thought in 1939, when I signed the Roosevelt letter encouraging the United States to enter into the atomic age, it was important to know that Hitler was working on an atomic bomb too. What was I to do except usher in the atomic age, hoping that the United States would have a bomb before Adolf Hitler would? Because if Hitler had the bomb first and we did not, what then? I so regret that moment. I never wanted to see the bomb used.
Very anti-war.
Pacifism.
Pro-Israel.
I am pro-Israel, yes.
Married twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. One son ended up in a mental institution.
Yes, that was my youngest son, Edward.
Was that because of all the publicity to the famous father, do you think?
Well, he said, I must be honest with you, he said, because you, Papa, are so sensitive, I will become insensitive. And that desire to be insensitive caused him some problems mentally.
You a good father?
Am I a good father?
Were you?
I think I could have been a lot better.
Good husband?
Also a lot better.
Were you spending too much time thinking and not enough time feeling?
It was my work that came first.
Do you think of America?
It is the greatest country. I would just hope that the politicians would allow the people to run the country, because I think in their hearts they have the way to run it correctly.
Take some calls?
Certainly.
Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
This is Mark from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Hi, Mark.
I just wanted to ask about a quote that Einstein made, and that was that World War IV would begin with sticks and stones, leading someone to believe that you meant a nuclear holocaust would just obliterate the world, and we'd start again as primates with sticks and stones. Did you actually feel that way, or did I misinterpret your quote?
I still feel that way, that at the rate that we are going today, that annihilation could be very close. Does that answer your question, please?
Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
Yes, my name is Martin Rice. I'm from Buffalo, New York.
Go ahead.
And I heard that Albert Einstein was dyslexic, as well as Leonardo da Vinci and Thomas Edison. I wonder if you'd be able to elaborate.
I believe that is an illness, and I am not aware that I had one. I have been claimed to have many illnesses, but that is one that I do not think I have.
The condition of the eyes,
Yes,
how you perceive things, but that was not something
I
you
get
had.
blamed for a lot of things. Everything that goes wrong in this universe.
Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
Yes, this is Randy Poppy from Dearborn, Michigan.
Go ahead, Randy.
And I'd like Einstein to briefly explain in layman terms his concept of the unified field theory that he was working on towards the end of his life.
Well, basically, very simply, is that I believe that there was a connection between the concepts of the outer space. Everything in the universe somehow reflects itself in the smallest particle in the atom. That these two entities were related to the whole universe. The smallest atom had the same characteristics as the whole universe. And some formula would one day somehow connect these two possibilities. The way E equal mc squared connected energy and mass.
That was the famous E equals mc squared?
Yes, E for energy, M for mass, and c squared is the speed of light, the constant.
We have some pictures. We'll put them up on the screen, and you tell us what we take a look at. Clark, can we see those?
That is me giving one of my concerts at the New York Philharmonic Orchestra to raise funds for various charitable organizations. My wife also said, "Don't worry, Albert, people will come to hear you play, squeaks and all." I remember that evening so well. That is me, maybe a little too much Lokschenkugel, but that boat is the Tumler. Do you know what Tumler means in Yiddish?
I have heard that. What is it?
It is Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I
it,
love
yeah.
that boat.
Yeah, quite a sailor, huh?
People said that I could not learn how to drive a car, so I became a very good bicycle rider, and that was taken at Caltech in 1933. As you could see, I had marvelous balance. One of my favorite pictures, the Hopi Indians in Arizona. They did not understand the theory of relativity, so instead they made me the great relative. And that is Elsa, my wife, standing next to it, and we smoking a peace pipe, all of us together. Isn't that wonderful?
Did you do things like that often? I mean, get invited to...
Oh, yes, invited to everywhere. And I love to go. I would love to be among other people.
Big celebrity, huh?
For some reason, newspaper reporters and photographers, they kept following me around, taking my picture. I do not know why. I just wanted to be left alone to do my work peacefully
Did
and
anyone,
quietly.
like as you said, did anybody understand what you were talking about?
I think a lot of people did. Even if they understood partly, it was enough to understand, to start them understanding what makes the universe function.
Now, I picked this up today. Time, the fourth dimension,
Yeah.
making all physical phenomena, from our point of view, as three-dimensional beings, relative and not absolute. Is that it?
That's basically very true, yes. That we are all, that everything is relative. All space, time, motion is relative in the universe. That an inch is not an inch. An inch way out in space is different measurements than the inch here on Earth. That a minute in space is somewhat slower, shorter than a minute here on Earth. I know that these are very hard concepts. But even today, the spacecrafts and the astronauts that come back, minutely different is the time on their watches than they were here on Earth.
I remember our Buckminster Fuller sat where you sat, and I had the chance to talk with him. And sometimes I had difficulty understanding what he had to say, but I could tell he was brilliant, huh?
I agree.
Genius,
I
huh?
agree.
You also. Take one more call here. Hi there, you're on Late Night America.
Hello, my name is Richard Burkhofer from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Go ahead, Richard.
Hi, how are you doing, Dennis?
Real good.
I'd like to ask Albert Einstein what he thought of Sir Isaac Newton, whose theories he changed a little.
How did you change them?
I would say, and I am glad I am given this opportunity, that Sir Isaac Newton has remained and probably will always remain as the greatest scientist of all mankind, for he has allowed myself and other scientists to step a little closer to understandings of physical laws of the universe. The greatest scientist of all mankind.
We should tell the folks at home in our last 2 or 3 minutes that we have been educated and entertained by a fine actor. You know how fine he is at this point. Ed Metzger is his name, and he tours around the country, a one-man show. Albert Einstein, the Practical Bohemian, 20 years an actor, studied with Lee Strasberg, Actors Studio, done many, many television and stage and movie appearances.
And science lectures.
And science lectures. Good to have you here.
It is
Thank
my
you.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Why? I mean, did it ever occur to you to do Albert Einstein? You educate us and you give us great entertainment at the same time. And not to think you do look like him as well, huh?
Well, thank you. I must tell you, I got tired of playing gangsters on television.
Is that it? Were you typecast as gangster all the time?
Yes.
And that's it? And you just wanted something that had a little bit more art to it? Or?
Well, not highbrow.
Yeah.
When I really found out the lovable man that Einstein was and all the characteristics that he had for him and the humor and his family and so many things, I wanted the people to come closer to really understanding this man.
Make him human, yeah.
To make him human, to know that he was so approachable and that some of the books that he wrote and some of the things that are about him, other than the science, still put him in a class all alone. His political philosophies, his love of humanity and people, and just the simple things in life. That this special genius was just really one of us.
Now, your wife is the director or the producer of the show.
And co-writer.
And co-writer. And from time to time, you just go out and do it someplace? I mean, you've played some marvelous places.
I know. We just, I must be honest, we were so proud. We played at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
We had a lovely run at the Kennedy Center, and we go all over the country with it, major universities and theaters.
I would imagine. And I wanted to make sure that the folks know going to be appearances, and you have to check your newspapers, Los Angeles, Pasadena, Lincoln, Nebraska, Los Alamos. Los Alamos will be interesting,
It will
won't it?
be the first time that they ever had Albert Einstein there.
That
was
right?
the place that, of course,
Sure.
the Manhattan Project was started because of E = MC squared, Robert Oppenheimer.
This must be an awfully nice thing for you to slip in during other things.
Jobs.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can an actor do? But people think that he's Einstein only for that hour and a half, 2 hours on the stage.
And I've
It's
read
marvelous.
the reviews. And for the folks, and I'm one of them, who do not know, I read a letter that appeared, and I think in a publication from a relative of Einstein's.
Yes.
Saying how much you sounded like him and how enthralled she was to have this experience recreated. Can you mention?
Yes, Dr. Herta Nadorf Einstein. She's probably about 95 years old, and I hope she's well. She's a medical doctor. She was Albert Einstein's first cousin.
Mm-hmm.
She came to see the play. She was absolutely just taken over. She couldn't believe that an American actor could have the European feeling of her cousin that she lived with and she was so fond of and so forth. And I never asked for a letter of endorsement. I wouldn't have the nerve to ask the Einstein family. And one day here it was published, and then she sent me a copy, and she said, I will see that the family is in back of you 100% for the honor that you do the family. And I said, I do the family honor? You do me honor for allowing me to do Einstein.
Isn't that terrific? Absolutely terrific. It's so good to have you here. Congratulations to you and your wife for putting this together, because I think you give people entertainment, and as I say, you educate them as well. Albert Einstein, the Practical Bohemian, and you would want to know also, Ed Metzger is Ed's real name, and you want to carry that around, and if you see him coming to your town, make sure you do yourselves a favor.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you, and that was just terrific, you sitting over there doing it. I want to thank Clark and Tom for working on the set and putting that all together, because that gave you a nice environment. Al Chapin as well. Thank you all for your calls, gang. Tomorrow night's going to be Friday. Detroit detective Gilbert Hill. He's Eddie Murphy's boss in the film Beverly Hills Cop. We're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood, but also we're going to talk about murder tomorrow night. And also along Dr. Joe Aarons. He has a happiness test we're going to talk about. Have a good day tomorrow. Good night from Detroit. We're very, very pleased that Ed could be with us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.